shot through Harold's mind. He hadn't even held Elsa's hand, and now some stranger had not only seen her undressed, but had touched her leg. How could he possibly accept that? At that moment, Harold didn't care that Elsa was already disgusted with him. He gritted his teeth and said, "I don't think that guy wanted to save you at all. I think he was just trying to take advantage of the situation." As soon as Harold spoke, every member of the Wilson family turned to stare at Elsa. They were all thinking the same thing. A beautiful woman, her clothes a mess, alone with a strange man who was touching her. The whole situation made their imaginations run wild. Elsa was trembling with anger, utterly disappointed in Harold. Not only did he run away and leave her, but now he was twisting what happened into something ugly and in front of his entire family. It was shameless. Elsa said coldly, "Harold, the person who saved me did nothing wrong. I took off my own pants. This has nothing to do with you." Then she gritted her teeth and let him have it. "This is all your fault, Harold. Everything that happened tonight is because of you. When those guys came looking for a fight, you ran off and left me there all alone. I'm the one who got stabbed, and now you have the nerve to say things like this? Have you no shame?" Harold choked on his words, his face flushing red. He was speechless. Elsa didn't give him another glance. She walked right out of the hospital room, hailed a cab, and went back to her hotel. The Wilson family was stunned. No one had imagined that this was the real story. It turned out that Harold had started the trouble and then abandoned Elsa, which is how she ended up getting hurt. The second Elsa was gone, Mrs. Wilson slapped Harold hard across the face. As Harold reeled from the blow, Mrs. Wilson scolded him. "What have I always told you? I told you to treat Elsa well, and what do? You leave her to fend for herself. After acting like such a coward, how could you ever expect her to like you? This is all your fault." "Grandma, I was wrong," Harold mumbled, clutching his stinging cheek. The reality of the situation finally hit him, and he was filled with regret. Only then did he truly understand that he and Elsa would never be together. Meanwhile, Charlie returned home but didn't say a word to his wife about what had happened that night. And his wife Claire knew nothing about what had happened to Elsa. After all, Mrs. Wilson had always looked down on Claire's side of the family, so they weren't allowed to live in the Wilsons' villa. They were completely out of the loop. The next morning, as soon as Claire got up, she got a call from Mrs. Wilson. Mrs. Wilson told her, "Claire, I need you to go to the Bennett Materials Group today. You need to find a way to talk their boss into giving us $10 million worth of building materials on credit. We'll pay them back as soon as we get the money from the Emgrand Group." Claire quickly replied, "Grandma, the Bennett Materials Group is huge. They call all the shots, and they never give credit." Mrs. Wilson said, "We don't have a choice." The Wilson family is having some serious cash flow problems right now. We can't afford to pay for the materials up front, and getting a loan is next to impossible. Our only option is to work something out with the Bennett Materials Group. Then Mrs. Wilson added, "Claire, the family is facing problems from every direction, and your cousin is no help at all. Right now, I'm counting on you. You have to figure out a way to have a good talk with Salas Bennett, the boss of the Bennett Materials Group. As long as he agrees, we have a chance." Claire hesitated for a moment, but she reluctantly agreed. "Okay, Grandma," she said. "I'll try." "Whew, good. That's my girl." Mrs. Wilson breathed a sigh of relief. "I know you can do it." After hanging up the phone, Claire looked pretty down. Charlie couldn't help but ask, "What's wrong?" Claire told Charlie what was going on. Charlie nodded. "Why don't you just ask the Emgrand Group to prepay $20 million for the project?" Claire quickly shot that down. "No way! We're already punching way above our weight just to work with the Emgrand Group. If we start asking for advance payments, they'll look down on us." Charlie wanted to say, "The Emgrand Group is your husband's company. What's $20 million? Who would dare look down on you?" But of course, Claire didn't know that. She said, "I'll just go talk to Mr. Bennett myself." Charlie offered, "Then I'll go with you." "That's not a good idea," Claire said. "It would look so unprofessional to bring my husband along to a business meeting." Then she added, "You should just stay home. If you get bored, you can go out. It's fine." Seeing how determined she was, Charlie didn't push it. He knew his wife was independent and liked to handle things herself. He figured he'd let her give it a shot. If it didn't work out, he could always step in and help from the sidelines. After breakfast, Claire made an appointment with Silas Bennett and drove over there by herself. The Bennett Materials Group was one of the biggest building materials suppliers in Ores Hill. They specialized in T6 aluminum siding and were a key supplier for any major real estate project. Silas Bennett hadn't come from money, but he'd gotten lucky and married a woman from a powerful family. He used her family's connections and resources to build his business into what it was today. But Silas had a wife who kept him on a short leash. Even though she wasn't much to look at, he never dared to cheat on her. Because of that, Silas had a good reputation around town as a loyal husband who never forgot where he came from. The Bennett Materials Group was located on the outskirts of the city, with a massive factory that sat on thousands of acres of land. When Claire pulled up to the Bennett Materials Group, she headed for the office building. After parking her car, she saw Silas Bennett waiting for her in the lobby. It looked like he'd been there for a while. When he saw her coming, Silas immediately put on an enthusiastic smile. He walked over to Claire, held out his hand, and said, "Oh, Miss Wilson, welcome." Claire reached out her hand, shook it politely, and said with a smile, "Mr. Bennett, you're too polite." After speaking, she went to pull her hand away, but she found that Silas was still holding it and wouldn't let go. In fact, he even tightened his grip. Claire yanked her hand back, her expression turning wary. "Mr. Bennett, what are you doing?" Silas quickly scratched his head and smiled. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I've heard so much about you, and seeing you in person today, I guess I got a little carried away. Please forgive me." Seeing that he was being upfront and had apologized right away, Claire felt a little relieved. Just then Silas made an inviting gesture and said with a smile, "Miss Wilson, please come to my office for a chat." Silas led Claire into his office. The moment the door closed, a flicker of something intense appeared in his eyes. He quietly locked the door, then invited Claire to sit on the sofa. Claire looked a bit uncomfortable and sat across from him, her hands folded in her lap. Silas smiled and asked, "So, Miss Wilson, what kind of partnership did you want to discuss with me today?" Claire looked a little embarrassed. "Well, Mr. Bennett, to be honest, the Wilson Group's cash flow is a bit tight right now. I was hoping to ask if we could get a batch of building materials on credit." "On credit?" Silas Bennett said, looking troubled. "Miss Wilson, you must know how we operate at the Bennett Materials Group. We never do credit. We don't send out materials until we've received payment." "I know," Claire said apologetically. "I really have no other choice." "But you can be sure that our partner on this is the Grand Group, the biggest company in Ores Hill. They will absolutely not default on the project. As soon as they pay us, we'll pay you for the materials immediately." Silas Bennett. "I hear you, Miss Wilson, but this isn't personal. Do you know why I have a strict no-credit policy?" Claire shook her head. "Why?" Silas said, "I used to be a lot more flexible. Customers wanted the goods first and to pay later. I agreed because I wanted to grow the business and build relationships. Every single one of them said the same thing. As soon as the client pays us, we'll pay you. But you know what happened? I'm out more than $300 million in unpaid bills, and they still haven't paid up." "That much?" Claire was stunned by the number. All the assets of the entire Wilson Group were just a little over $1 billion. It was shocking to think that Silas was owed more than $300 million for materials alone. Silas Bennett sighed. "There's nothing I can do. These partners who won't pay up all use the same lines. They all say they'll pay me soon, any day now, but it never happens." He shook his head and said with a sigh, "In the end, I had no choice. I had to stop all credit arrangements. You can have the materials, I've got plenty of them, but you have to pay first." Claire's expression fell. It seemed this wasn't going to work out the way she'd hoped. But she knew that since he had this rule, it wouldn't be right to ask him to break it. She stood up and said, "I'm very sorry, Mr. Bennet. I'll go back and talk to my grandmother. I'll try to raise the funds as soon as possible so we can work with you." When Silas saw her getting up to leave, he immediately said, "Hold on, Miss Wilson." With that, Silas quickly stood up and added, "What I said before, that's for my regular partners. But for you, Miss Wilson, well, you're a special case." Claire asked, confused, "Mr. Bennet, what do you mean by that?" Silas's eyes narrowed as he stared at Claire greedily. To be honest, Claire was stunning, so beautiful it took his breath away. After all these years of facing that plain-faced wife of his at home, seeing someone like Claire was a shock. His wife couldn't hold a candle to her. Claire's face was flawless, and her figure was driving him wild. A woman like that was the ultimate prize. Why couldn't he get that lucky? Why did a perfect woman like her have to marry that well-known loser? What did that good-for-nothing husband of hers have that he didn't? As he thought about it, it felt like 1,000 ants were crawling under his skin.